All right, so let's talk about the squeeze, right? The squeeze, which is the correct way to finish a choke, versus the pull. The squeeze is a way of applying very consistent and firm, increasing pressure. The pull is entirely strength-based, and it's the idea that somehow, because of my ability to exert more power than my opponent or partner at a particular moment in time, I'll be successful, right? It doesn't take into account that he may have a way of diffusing that power that doesn't look like much from our perspective, but actually works quite well for him. For example, just following this series here, this choke. The hand goes in, the thumb goes in. I spin, I loop, and I catch him right here. If there's enough space that he can put his right hand through the hole and put the hand on the forehead, now it doesn't matter how hard I squeeze. I can be very, very strong here, but there's no neck to choke because the arm came in between my arm and his neck. So you see this hand, my left hand, which is on the right side, just to make it more confusing, that's still along the carotid sinus, right? It's still buried in the neck where it needs to be. So I can rotate it and start to bug him there. But this hand, my right hand, which is on the left side, right? Look at the space here between my arm and his neck. Now, the real question is, so obviously there's no choke, right? The real question is, how did we get here? We got there because when I spun my head to look in his ear, sat a little bit, looped my elbow, and spun back, I got very excited. And I thought, I'm going to win, right? Because I'm too competitive and I'm too submission-centric. So I'm going to win, and I'm going to win by popping his head off, right? And squeezing as hard as I can here. And when I squeeze as hard as I can, the tendency is to grab very hard. And look at the arms, right? Look how, right now, the arm molds to the neck. And then as soon as I squeeze, look what it does. You see my arms and hands jump forward a little bit. And it's not as connected and molded and fit, right, as it was. So that's the first issue, is I grip too hard in excitement. And then the second issue is I start to pull very hard. And look what happens. I shoot it forward and then back. And now I'm not on the neck at all. Even if I manage to stay on the neck, because the muscles have become tense, the whole unit tenses up and it becomes stiff and straight. And there's no bend, there's no curvature at all, which is where I need, or what I need to fill this, right? His neck is not a straight stick. See, there's a jawline and it curves in, and there's these soft parts here and they depress a little bit. So I have to have something that fits and connects to him like foam would mold to an object, not just two sticks on either side of the neck. I do that, and all the rigidity costs me the choke. So when this type of excessive rigidity, which comes from excessive use of strength, happens, it gives him, see the opening. You can already see on this side that the hand here is high, and that's the space that he's going to put his hand through. Go ahead. And when he does, now it doesn't matter how strong I am, because the choke has already gone away from me. So what we'd like to do is develop a squeeze, not a pull, right? A squeeze is a way of applying firm, consistent pressure, and it may take longer to finish the choke, and if we're patient, that's okay, because what matters is the end result, not how we get there. Although in this instance, we are discussing about how we get there, and how we get there is more important than the end. So if that's too confusing for you, rewind the video and it'll make sense when you see what we do right here, right? The hand's in, the thumb's in, I spin, I loop, and I catch. Right here, just relax. Not so much that you let go and I'm like, you know, letting him remove himself. I'm tight, but I'm calm. And when I go to face him again, I don't need to rush. I just need to turn the arms and exert slow, constant pressure. Now, if my hands are already gripping so tight that it's hard for me to roll because I'm starting to feel lactic acid build up and my muscles are starting to cramp, that's how I know I'm doing this wrong. What I'd like to do is be able to pulse this, right? My hands are very loose and relaxed right now while I'm still maintaining the grip. And what I'd like to do is be able to, this, right? Pulse the choke. Does that make sense? Pulse the choke so that finally, after a number of pulses, each time I pulse, I'm a little deeper. And then it gives me a chance to finish very easily. All right, so that's one way. If you feel like you need to adjust, don't adjust by holding very tightly and shaking yourself into position. Adjust by setting the choke and then seeing where you need to be. And you open a little bit and close a little bit, open a little bit and close a little bit. And that micro opening is when you maybe drop an elbow or lift this one or whatever you have to do. And then the squeeze happens because I commit to a firm, slow pressure that remains molded exactly to the contours of the area I'm choking. I put all of my focus on this carotid and that carotid, and once I have them, I'm good. See, so a little longer than the straight hard pull, but much less chance of the person defending successfully. All right, so play with this idea now when you choke your trading partner and see if it makes a difference for you. Okay?